Well, this morning we're talking to Jerry Beerman. He's an entrepreneur, the owner of Alluring Glass in Ohio. The website is alluringglass.net. And it looks like you serve Cincinnati, Dayton, Columbus, and Northern Kentucky. Is that right?
Yeah, currently we like probably a lot of folks have been blessed with just a robust economy. So we've actually scaled back while our revenues increased. We've actually scaled back geographically because we're not equipped to handle the different markets. So we're currently serving the greater Cincinnati area, and we've pulled out of Columbus and Dayton.
So how did you end up in the glass business anyway?
Yeah, it's a good question. So do you remember the cartoon character Mr. Magoo?
I do remember him.
So just kind of a blind, stumbling fool, just kind of moving around through life and finds himself in all kinds of predicaments. That's how I ended up in the shower glass business. So just a very short, abbreviated version. In the downturn, came across a couple of glazers that were out of work, and I said to them, hey, I'm interested in business. You guys are interested in glass. This is a perfect fit. So we actually, launched in the downturn, and me kind of focusing on what I was interested in, not that I was good at it as far as business is concerned, but I'm very interested in business, and them focusing on the craft and giving them the space to execute their craft and do what they enjoy doing, and for me to execute the craft of the business and try to do what I enjoy doing. So that's the way we launched a dozen years ago. And so, every day, every week, every month, every year, it's been an ongoing learning. It's been an ongoing learning process. So one of the things that drives me crazy is when I come across people that, either they say they've already learned everything they can learn, or they project themselves as a got it guy, or as somebody that kind of knows everything, that they've decided to stop learning. That's the antithesis of who I am, and the antithesis of the type of people that I like to be around. So again, being at this for a dozen years, and literally just, every day, every week, every month, every year, learning a little bit more. I've told our guys, after the first of the year, we do a recalibration, and here's the ground we took, and here's the direction we're going. And I've said, as long as I can remember, this past 12 months, I've learned more in the past 12 months than any other period in my life. And so anyway, so it's an odyssey. It's a journey of discovery is what the business feels like to me.
Being in business, it certainly isn't for everybody. So what is it about being in business that you love most? Is it the learning part?
Yeah, that's a great question, Chris. I think as a leader or as an owner, you get a disproportionate amount of the credit, and you get a disproportionate amount of the blame. And so you got to have, the one of the things that impresses me about guys like you is that, like, leaders and owners in the business have to have very strong, broad shoulders to handle the weight of business. And, it's interesting, as strong as the economy is, it's still a blood sport. That it's like all my friends in small business within the residential trades are getting beat up, and the economy's good. Now, this getting beat up with the economy good beats the alternative that you and I lived through, which is getting beat down while the economy's down. And so that's worse, but it still hurts. Like the pain of business and the weight that you carry is substantial. So anyway, I recognize I'm impressed by leaders and owners you get around guys like us and you smell the battle on them. You look in guys' eyes and you're like, gosh, I can see this guy's fighting the fight. And so from a business standpoint, I don't know how guys do, which, a lot of our friends, they go out and do the templating. They do all the quoting. They do all the ordering. They do all the receiving. They do all the installing. They do all the invoicing, which takes a Herculean effort. And so that's tough, man. That's a really tough position to be in. And so, for me, trying to scale my business to the point where I was trying to, my personal goal was to get myself out of the day-to-day operations. That was my goal. And so many of my coworkers had the same goal because I screwed up so much, is that my business objective was to scale enough that, I could get key guys doing the day-to-day operations. So, present day, that's the blessing that I'm experiencing currently, is that I've got a great team of guys that are foxhole guys, that guys that I'd take a bullet for them, and I believe they'd take a bullet for me, and just guys that you can count on. But that took years, many iterations of hiring and firing and hiring and having guys quit. And so, again, it's a blood sport. It takes everything you've got to either sustain your business or to scale your business. So I wanted to scale it to get myself out of the day-to-day operations, but that took years.
Yeah, well, that's the goal. I mean, that's the difference between being an entrepreneur and just someone who creates their own job, is being able to actually get out of the day-to-day operation of it and just be a business owner. And that's something that I haven't really been successful at so far. But
yeah,
I like what I do a lot. So,
well, and when you say, Chris, as you say that, like you as the leader, I think the key is, for me, is that one's not good and one's not bad. The key is you choose. So, like, I've got friends that are remodeling contractors that they enjoy putting the tool belt on and going out in the field 2 to 3 days a week. And so that's what they choose to do. So I think, and I'm not, you might be right using the, my opinion of the word entrepreneur might be in alignment with what you're suggesting as well, that the entrepreneur piece is kind of the visionary piece, and the technician piece, which a lot of our friends have just tremendous skills as technicians, as craftspeople. That's a critical skill. And again, so if somebody like yourself, if you choose to be in the field every day, good for you. If that's something that gives you life, you enjoy it, that's awesome. If you enjoy being in the office 2 or 3 days a week and you're choosing that, I think it's great. And then if you choose to scale your business to get yourself out of the day-to-day operations, then I think that's great as well. I don't think one's better than the other. I think what sucks, Chris, is that when you choose to be in a different role, in all that tension from what is currently your reality versus what you want your reality to be. So if somebody's listening to this and they're out, installing 5 days a week, and they say, I would eventually like to build a business where where my business is the business. My business isn't the widget, right? Your employees, your staff, their business is the widget. So we talk about internal customers and external customers. If your objective, or God forbid, Chris, you get hurt and you can't physically go in the field, you are still incredibly valuable with your knowledge, everything that you have from the neck up. So again, God forbid that you're forced to transition into a different business model. Again, when you make that choice to go, if somebody wants to make a choice to go from the field to the the craft of running the business. My point of view would be it's a totally different tool belt. And you can't take, they're not interchangeable. You can't take the tool belt that you go to install a frameless neo-angle and bring that same tool belt into the craft of running the business. It's a different tool belt. And I think, if your point of view is it's the same tool belt, I think you're going to be incredibly, not you, Chris, but if somebody listening says, well, it's the same tool belt, it's just a variation of it, I would say that's probably going to cause you all kinds of challenges. My personal experience has been it's a totally different tool belt.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that it's kind of a left brain, right brain thing. There's kind of a creative thing and then an administrative thing, and they really require different hemispheres. And I find, switching back and forth, they call it human contact switching, right? How you have to really kind of gear up for a task, and the people part of the business is way, way different than the thing-based part of the business. If you start treating people like things, you've got big problems.
Oh, no doubt. As you're mentioning that, you're probably familiar with the E-Myth, and they talk about, that there's 3 types of hats that you wear in business. The technical hat, which we all know exactly what that means, the management hat, and or the entrepreneur hat. And you might be great at one of them and decent at a second. It's unlikely that you're going to come across many, unless they're just a freak of nature, where they've got all 3 of those hats that they're just jamming with. So the technical craft piece, the management craft piece, and then the entrepreneurial craft piece. And what we've seen over the years is guys that are loyal, that are very good technically, and that they could be a loyal foxhole guy. They're committed to you, you're committed to them, but their core competency is technically a technical competency, and you promote them into a management position, you're setting them up for incredible frustration and, quite candidly, setting them up for failure. The management piece is a different set of tools. And what I see it amongst my friends, is that we end up, and I've done this plenty of times, where you promote a technical guy into a management position and assume because he has longevity, he's been doing this for 10 years or 20 years or 50 years, that he's going to be an effective manager. And you and I both know that's not necessarily the case.
Yeah, great point. So how do you define success?
Well, it's good. The something that gives you life. So something that you value, like, some of the stupid sayings, if money wasn't an issue, what would you do? And so, for me, success is predicated by doing what you love to do, right? So, the way that I would define success would be if I get to do 80% of my day, or pick a percentage of things I love to do, that's successful, generally speaking. So, there's different types of success, but just very quick, knee-jerk would be if I get to do what I love to do, like the stuff I do on a daily basis, if money wasn't an issue, I would do the exact same stuff. Like I would do the same things. The bigger success might be a legacy that after you're gone, I don't know what kind of, I was a pretty ornery young person. So, spray painting and, mischievous vandalism type things were not uncommon for me. And so, looking at bridges, when you were playing as a kid around bridges, and you'd take spray paint and you'd write, Jerry was here, or Chris was here. Sure. I think when you get into success from a legacy standpoint, so when you and I are gone, and I'm like you, I'm a person of faith that I believe there's a life after this one, thank God, and I believe it'll be better. But for the sake of the question of success, is that, that I would like I would like to have some success that after Jerry's gone, that somebody gives a damn that I was actually here. Like I made some kind of difference in somebody's life. So I think from a legacy standpoint, that's the other piece to success, is when you're gone, is there any evidence that you were here and you made a positive contribution? So those, I circled the barn a few times, but the emphasis on success would be, for me, if I get to do what I want to do that's life-giving on a daily basis, and then when it's all said and done, I've contributed to a marketplace, that the world is a little bit better because, God allowed me to use some of my time, talent, and treasure in the world. That would be that's my understanding of what success is. Yeah,
one of my values is leave things better than you found them. And I can't say that, I do that 100% of the time, but that's in my heart, and I want to be the guy that everything I approach and everything that I walk away from, I've tried to leave it a little better than I found it, and I think that's kind of what you're describing there. Along those lines.
I love that. Yeah.
Talking about faith and values, how do your values show up in the work that you do?
That's a great question. So, for me, I love people. So, one of the values that I have is that, I like to invest in other people. And so, when I'm around young men, like on our team, or I'm around peers like yourself, the people that want to learn and grow at whatever pace they want to learn and grow. So I find it very appealing when I'm around people that want to improve personally, professionally, relationally. I find that very appealing. So I'm a guy that I want to be a better husband to my wife. I want to be a better father to my kids. I want to be a better coworker. And so that's one of the things I value. And when I'm around other people that are like-minded, that they also want to be better in relationships and better at their craft, whether the craft is the technical craft or the management craft or the entrepreneurial craft. That's something that I value. And so when I'm around people like that, then it, again, gives me energy. When I'm around people that are the antithesis of that, then it's like an energy vampire. So I value the I value the intentional growth and development.
Yeah, it's excellent. One thing that drew my attention to you was like on LinkedIn. I don't know if you've got a YouTube channel, but I've seen you post just little short videos, kind of inspirational, motivational videos, basically just positive thoughts and ideas, and I love that kind of stuff. I mean, it really.
Thank you.
Yeah, it takes a lot of good input, no matter how motivated you already are. It's so important to surround yourself with other motivated people so that we can kind of motivate each other, because everybody has an off day, right?
Yeah. Well, no, and just kind of doing a real quick deep dive on that, Chris. I think you hit on something that's really important to me. And so I'm 52. So I've got 52 years of failures under my belt, and I've got a few modest successes, but tons of failure. And one of the things that I recognize about leaders and owners is that they're giving disproportionately as well. So one of the things that's not popular for men to say, and there's certainly a lot of women in the trade, so I'm not excluding them at all, but our Western culture goes so far extreme. The pendulum just goes ridiculously far. So I'm speaking to men about this topic, is that you're giving leadership and you're giving encouragement and within the trades. So even if you don't have any employees, you've got subs, you've got clients, and you're giving. And I think a lot of times people around us look at us as being confident. And we're in leadership positions, we're in ownership positions, and I think society looks at leaders and owners as confident and competent. And when you look at somebody that's confident and competent, you don't think, the general public doesn't think that we need encouragement. Like if you look at, and I look at your post daily, actually multiple times during the day. If you look at the quality of the work the guys are pumping out there, I mean, it's amazing, the craftsmanship. And one of the things that's not popular, public, is for men to say publicly. I mean, I'm going to say it, but I'm even going to think this sounds ridiculous, Chris, but I need your encouragement. Like Jerry Beerman needs your, Chris, I need your verbal encouragement. I need it because I'm not getting it many places. And so one of the things that I'm finding really interesting is that within the residential trades is we're not getting a ton of encouragement. There's not people walking around saying, hey, Chris, I think you're doing a great job with this, that, and the other thing. We don't live in a society and a culture where leaders are getting encouraged. Sorry, I'm sitting outside as the police department's going by.
That's okay.
Yeah, we don't live in a society that is naturally encouraging, let alone encouraging the leaders. So I'm kind of on this odyssey where I'm like, you know what? I need to be encouraged. And so I feel kind of weak saying it, but I know that's just absurd, but I need to be encouraged. So if I need it, and if people that know me think I'm optimistic and I'm positive, and if I need encouragement and I'm already optimistic and positive and I've got a great tribe of support around me, guys that are loving me and encouraging me and helping to equip me, et cetera, then of course all our friends need it. And so one of the intentions with the videos, the first intention, quite candidly, is for me to practice. So just to practice getting content out there, and all the content that I'm pumping out is all leadership based because I do subscribe to the view that everything rises and falls on leadership. I think John Maxwell gets the credit for saying that, but whatever. Everything you touch is a little better or a little worse based on your leadership. So leadership as it relates to, your influence, et cetera. So if I can give some encouragement to anybody in the residential trades, if I can give you a pat on the back, if I can help equip you just a little bit with some leadership and some encouragement, then again, something I value is making that contribution. So a lot of times when I'm pumping out a video, I'm actually talking to myself. Like some of my guys said, because I've been doing this for over a year now, and some of my guys said, well, nobody watches your videos, or, you got one like, and it was your daughter. And so, and so you end up questioning, like, who am I doing this for? And ultimately, I'm doing it for myself as well. I'm talking to me. I'm looking at the camera. I'm talking to me, and I'm saying, hey, Jerry, like our topic this week is direction. And so I'm learning a lot about direction from a leadership standpoint this week. So, talking to myself, encouraging myself, helping to equip myself, and then also trying to equip our peers, guys that have given their best to the residential trades, like I live in the residential world, so that's what I speak of. But, guys that have taken their time, talent, and treasure and said, hey, look, I'm going to play in the sandbox for my career. Like this isn't this isn't a stepping stone into something bigger. Like this is my career. This is what I'm giving myself to. And so I find it incredibly honorable to be in the trades. And quite candidly, I'm seeing a movement, a very small movement, where I'm seeing guys from corporate America leaving corporate to come into the residential trades because there's massive opportunities. So we will see I believe you and I will be alive long enough to see it, a shift back into to where the residential trades will eventually have an influx of highly competent and qualified people. I believe we'll see that. So off on a tangent a little bit, sorry.
No, that's great. I love that. Words of wisdom. I mean, it's not that we really need to learn new stuff so much as that we just need to be reminded of the things that we already know. And there are so many facets to life, on a daily basis that there's no way that you can remember everything all the time. And I really believe that's why God gave us each other, and that's what fellowship is all about. It's about, iron sharpening iron and just reminding each other that to keep the faith and to stay strong. And
it's community as well, right? And relearning, I find myself relearning. It's like, gosh, I already learned that, but I forgot it. Now I need to relearn it. So there's a lot of that goes on too. It's really good.
True. So what's next for you? I mean, you going to start another business?
No. So very quickly. So I've got internal customers and external customers. And so, our internal customers are staff. So we got 16 guys. And so one of my businesses is to teach, train, and equip those guys. So that's, when I say it's one of the business, it's all under the Alluring Glass business. But so one aspect of what where I invest my time, talent, and treasure is in my guys. And so helping their career development, helping them personally and professionally. The second customer I have is remodeling contractors, where we sell like 85% of our product is going through remodeling contractors. So my value add, maybe for another call, but my value add is to seek alignment with remodeling contractors and to help them personally and professionally. So, I'm as far as starting another business, I can't see it. I've got so much work to do with my internal customers and external customers to help them grow personally and professionally that occupies my time and quite candidly my passion. All
right. Well, Jerry Beerman, we definitely probably will have to circle back and do another one. I feel like we're just kind of scratching the surface here.
Well, I'd love to do a 30 minutes on adding value, identifying your dream clients, external clients for us would be a dream client, identifying the specifics of a dream client, what makes up your dream client, and then how are you serving them and how are you differentiating yourself? Like, why use your company as opposed to a competitor? And so what are the differentiators, which quite candidly, from a downturn standpoint, the stronger your base of dream client is. So I look at dream clients as somebody, a remodeling contractor that has already sustained downturns, that it's probable they're going to be able to sustain the next one. That's my dream client. And so what am I doing to invest in that relationship above and beyond just executing a best-in-class shower glass, to align myself with them, which creates some sustainability. So I'd love to talk about that as well.
All right, we'll definitely make a plan to do that. Hey, thanks very much, Jerry. I really appreciate you taking some time this morning to talk. And that's Jerry Beerman,
absolutely,
entrepreneur, owner of Alluring Glass. Thanks, man. Have an awesome day.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for your leadership, brother.